Alright, last night I figured out how to make a wall scripture without having to spend $20 or custom make it with a company. This is the result of last night, so I'm going to do another one and show you how I did it. It's not going to be quite the same text, but you'll see how I did it. Okay. The ingredients you'll need, the supplies you'll need are just a piece of paper with whatever scripture you want to put up. What I did was I printed out several pieces of paper with the scripture that I wanted on them, and then I cut them up and placed them in the order that I wanted them and around the size. So I want this next one, it's going to be long and wide and kind of larger print. And I think I put in like 100 or 125 in the Microsoft Word. I did it on the computer and I printed it out. And then I just cut it up and taped it together in the order that I wanted, like placement wise. So it's nice and long and it'll go up on the wall in a big, make it big. And then you'll need I use a fine point Sharpie marker, but you could use any color that you want. I just want black for right now, but you could use something else if you wanted that. And then a roll of contact paper. This one's just already cut to size. Alright, so what I've done is I have unrolled the contact paper and I've just taped down the edges to my table so that it is nice and flat on here and it's all held in place. And then as you can see the I just laid it so that the paper side with the grid is on the bottom and the contact paper itself, like the clear part, is right on top. And so what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to start tracing with my marker all these letters and bringing it out on the top so that I can see on the contact paper what it says. So the first one I'm going to start with is the A. And I'm going to push down and hold the paper so that I can see it very nicely. And what I like to do is I just trace along the outside first and then color in afterwards. It's just easier to get the line on the outside. Sorry for the extra noise of the family in the background, but you know, we all have it. There's the quotation marks, and then again, you just push it down, flatten it out. I think I have something behind here. Hold on. Yep, little stick. So now that I just lifted that up, I need to make sure that it is right back. Again. So I just had to reline that back up since I had to pull out a little stick from the table. I didn't clear my table well. So note to you, when you go to do this, make sure you clear your table and make sure that there's nothing underneath. I just had like a little wood stick, and that obviously would make a bump in my picture, and I don't want that. So clear your table and then do it. So I'm pushing down with my left hand since I'm right-handed and writing with my right and just following along with the fine tip. I like the fine tip more because it's easier to control the thickness of the movement. Now as you can see, it's going to be a little time consuming, but it's worth it for me because I'm saving a lot of money doing it this way. So I just traced it first, and then now I can go in and color it all in. And so I'd recommend taking your time doing it so that you don't mess up, because if you end up messing up, obviously you're using a Sharpie marker. So if you go too quickly and you make a line outside of your edges, it's going to be noticeable because you're not going to be able to get that off. So take your time, and also be careful of smearing it. If you smear it, it's going to be noticeable as well. So make sure that you're not wiping your fingers across it or having little kids around that can do that while it's still wet and drying. The marker takes a couple of minutes. I mean, this A should be dry in a couple of minutes. It won't take too long, but you know, you just want to be very careful because any marks left on here will show up on your wall, especially if you have a light colored wall. And we'll be back for the finished product. So since I had a lot of letters to trace, I decided, and since they're all pretty thick coloring, and I decided just to trace it with, trace the edging with the fine point, and then I'm going to grab one of my other not so fine Sharpies in order to fill it all in so that I don't wear down and soften that particular fine point Sharpie. I don't want to use it up all for this one particular one or bend it too much and make it no longer so fine. So if you use thick lettering like this, you might want to do something similar just so you get a fine edge, but then you're not coloring in with a fine tip. Alright, so I finished getting I finished doing the tracing of the contact paper, and since I'm putting it up on the wall, it's a little tricky because they roll, but as you can see a little bit of like the discoloration here. It's only because it's reflecting in the light. So if you don't want that, you're just going to have to cut a little closer to the letters, and if you have multiple layers like this, lines, just do individual lines and try to keep it as close to the letters as possible. I don't really care because you're not going to see it majority of the time, and it's getting the point across, which for me is having scripture on the wall. So as I straighten it out as best as I can. I kind of do it by eye, and then I pull out my little straightener. For us, it's this thing right here. It tells me if things are straight. It gives the straight liner, laser line. And then I just, pull off a corner and start tearing off the contact paper and flatten this out as the contact paper comes away. I still have a little bit here. I'll show you. Let me get that corner quickly. Alright, so as I pull the contact paper away, it's gonna reveal what I've been stenciling or tracing on there, and then I'll ideally, you want to have two hands. I don't have two hands right now since I'm videotaping. But ideally, you want to, while you're pulling the contact paper away, go ahead and flatten it down at the same time. And then just try to make sure that it's not bubbled up anywhere. Like right here, this is bubbled up, so I gotta fix that. And then just flatten it out. And there you go. Wall scriptures on the super cheap. This is for our schoolroom, so that's why it was applicable, and I really wanted this one. But I hope that gives you better ideas to how I have successfully done wall scriptures with simple Sharpie and contact paper, and I hope that encourages you to go and try to do the same and get some great verses and quotes or whatever it is you want on your wall done much more cheaply. Right? Enjoy. God bless.